We're at 26 now, I think. Yeah, you did. Right, we're at 26. Probably just start now. People can just jump in as they come. Right, Nick. Dirk. Right then. Thanks for the time and effort. So, boys, back to Winols. So, last session I did a quick basic run through of what Winols is and things like that. So, this time we're going to look more into what the database is, and I'm going to show you a few quick ways of transferring maps. So, obviously, it's one of the main things people use because there's kind of three parts to Winols. There's your database, which is where you keep all your stuff, which is important. The more you load into Winols, the more stock you've got. So, you'd use that database as your stockpile, which are kind of trying to get through to a lot of people at the minute who come in for training and things like that. That's probably one of the most important parts of your business is the database for stock and things like that. Then you've got if you're a file supplier, if you're just like a flash tuner or things like that, it can help your businesses. You've got master tools. And then you've got the other side of it, which is the editing side, which is the more complex side. So even to that, you've got two parts. You've got the parts where you've got good files and you can transfer the files into other files and such and such. And then you've obviously got the editing, which is more the engine tuning and what Winols is about for that side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to probably finish it on this one with just finish the Winols, kind of like showed you all about the Winols, how to use it, how to use a database, how to transfer files into files, how I do it anyway, the quick way of doing it, and the most accurate way of doing it, to show you that too. And then later on in other weeks, I'm going to start grabbing you and jumping on the dyno and tuning cars up really to kind of like give you a bit more of a link in into the whole tuning side of it. I'm also going to do a couple on ECM, Swift Tech and things like that as well that I use. So like ECM isn't that bad. People kind of mock it a lot, call it a percentage software, but when you're tuning cars, it's whatever you put into it. It's not about the software. You're tuning the car, not the software. You're just using the software to help you get there. So we're going to touch on that too, just to show people how to use ECM properly. So don't get fooled by all the percent bollocks. So anyway, let's start looking at Winols. So Winols, this is the editing screen, as most people will know, hopefully. This is where you do all your work, transfer the files and whatever else. So this bit here in the middle is your workspace. So anything you do in this area is to do with the file. And in the background, you've also got a place where you can store your projects. This place is called your database. So this is your database of all the files that you've been working with, have worked with. You can purchase files. You can look at other people's databases to purchase files from. It's quite a really powerful place to be with the tuning side, because obviously you've got your file suppliers like Quantum and all them kind of people. But then also you've also got the people who are more outside, who you can literally buy a file from 24/7, 365 days a year, just by purchasing some credits from them, coming on here, finding a match to the file you've loaded in, purchase the file, either work with it or load onto the car, whatever. And you've got their support too if it's not quite right and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to show you that too, how to set that up and whatever else. So it's a really powerful tool, Winols, when you're looking into the software. For the business side, this is the database. For obviously the professional side, it's more the editing and things like that. So in here, you have all these files, and when you're loading in, every project you load into Winols gets stored here. And this is basically just a folder. You can either store this onto your normal local drive, or like I do, you can store it on an external drive, because they do get quite busy quite quick, especially if you're doing lots of versions for each project. So if you're working on something with lots of different versions, because you could have different setups, different injectors or whatever, then it gets quite busy in here. And I think they've limited it to 200 versions per project, which you can open up if you like, but just slow your computer down. So this is where all this is. So in here, I look for, you can, the bonus of the database is you can search, and you can search fast. So if I just wanted a VW file, I could type in VW and it'd give me all the stuff for the VW files. If I wanted Audi, same. If I wanted EDC 17, CP 20, same. So you pretty much, you know, it's where everything is kept and you can search it fast. There's no storing things on laptops where you have to look for things and find things and whatever else. It is literally in seconds. You can pull up whatever file you want from wherever, and as long as it's stored within your client, which is what they call it, which is your database. So you've also got things like, just move this out of the way. You've also got things like all your maps and things like that. So if you want to know if you've got any maps for stuff, Demos files and such, you've also got the option to just define them straight away. You're not looking for stuff through folders on your computer. So it's just an easier way of doing everything. You've got all the files you've looked at today. Apparently I've looked, oh, sorry about that. All the files you looked at today, you've got yesterday, 7 days, 30 days, files you brought and such and such. And it's so like it makes I couldn't live with it as a tuner. I couldn't live without it because it just speeds up my whole working process. I can look at other files for changes I've made. I can do pretty much anything I want. I can pop into somebody else's database, like this is Dyno chip tuning files. I can click up here, let it load, just take a few seconds, and then you can jump straight into their database. So they've obviously got 10,000, is it 102,000 projects, 102,000 projects. And the same again in their folders, you can search for stuff. Takes a little bit longer because you're working on the internet. And you can look at files and things like that. And they've also got backpacks and what have you. You can see how they're all laid out. So it's such a powerful tool. You could literally run your business running from the databases. Obviously you pay more for a file, but the more you get into Winols and moving things around yourself, the more you get used to doing and working with and spending less and making more money, which is what we all want to do. I know there's a lot of stuff in tuning where it's kind of like the, what do you call it? It's kind of like the manly side of like tuning with cars and stuff, but it's also a business that we all, you know, would like to earn from and prosper for. So this is the place where you can go in, buy files and do what you like. There's all sorts of different people you can link yourself to. I can click up here if my computer ever wants to work. No, come off there. Let Winols catch back up. Takes a few seconds to unlink yourself and link yourself back to your own Winols. There we go. No, not responding. Wait a few seconds. It'll kick in. Here we go. So when you're building a database, it's pretty much as simple as just loading in a project. So every time you load a project, so if you've got a car coming from wherever, you've read that car, you've got the file. The file's obviously a copy of what's on the ECU. So rather than just send that straight to your file supplier, load it into Winols. So let me just open a file up. I'll open this one up, export it, and load it back in. So you just load in your file, go through the bit, and straight away Winols will search your database and tell you if you've got a file that's anywhere near the file that you just loaded in. Now, obviously, the cleverer you get with the moving maps and things like that, the less of a match you need. Like 63%, that's enough for me. I'll probably use that one to show you how to transfer maps. But I've gone lower, and you can go lower depending on how bad it is. But then it also gives you the speed. So if you've got a car that's in front of you and you've done a stage 1 DPF EGR before, and you know that file is good and all the changes that are made in that tune are good for that vehicle, as long as the vehicle's got no problems and such, then you can build quickly that file without having to wait for someone to build it for you. So all your files that you're purchasing from other people, they become reusable. So you don't have to keep buying for every single car you do, because this is pretty much what the file suppliers do for you anyway. So you read the car, you send it to them, they load it into Winols, got 100% match, sound, send it back to you, you pay. And then tomorrow you could read exactly the same car again, on a different car, same model, same version. You can send it to them, they'll look at it, 100%, bang, straight back again. So therefore you bought 2 files and they've only made, well, they haven't made one, they've made one ages ago. And it did just keep selling it like that, which is pretty much how the whole thing works. So obviously files is stock. So the more originals you've got, the more, you know, tune files you've got against those originals and such, the less you're going to spend in future on tuning. And you're going to start making more money, which is what everyone wants. So So in this case, I'm going to go, right, you know, I'm going to put this into my database. I'm going to ignore all the projects and continue. So I'm going to ignore everything in this box and just continue on, load that in. I've got to checksums for that one. And then here is obviously where you put all your stuff, what ECU it is and everything else. I'm not too fussed because I kind of let Winols deal with it a lot. As long as I know what car it is or what van it is, sometimes I put the ECU in. Apart from that, I ain't too fussed because I let Winols take care of it for me. If I load another file in, it'll tell me I've got this file. So I don't really have to worry about it too much. And that's that. Now, if I wanted to now grab that stage one that I've just seen, and I've got this file and I've gone, oh, I could do with that file. It's no problem. You just literally come up here, project, find similar projects, and there you go. It'll search the files for you. In this case, I have got 100% for that one because I've exported it from Winols, and I've got a stage one tune in there. But so if I was in a position where I wanted to get the van out and whatever else, I'll come here, I say I've got 100% match, I flick across, I've got a stage one tune, I can open that stage one tune, and because it's literally 100% match, not a data area, it's a straight 100% match, I could export that and write that in with the tool I read the car with. I wouldn't switch tools, you always use a tool, whatever you read it with, you write with. That's quite a basic thing to do, never cross tools. So I'm pretty good just to export that, don't have to do anything with it, I can flash it straight to the van. Because I know it's a good file because it's in my database, and two, it's 100% match, so it's not going to brick anything, which is kind of just as important. But in this case, I'm going to go, I haven't got 100%, but I've got a 63%. So I'm going to go and open the 63% file. I don't want the original because obviously I know it's 63% different to mine. So I'm going to open the stage one tune. All right, I'm not. Is it open? Yeah, it's opened. So because I save my files in a structure where I've always got the original and the tune with together as a project. So I always start with the original, then I put a stage one DPF EGR, blah, blah, blah. If you build your files like that, it makes the process of switching files over and sending maps into the other file a lot easier, because Winols can see if the change that you want to move is a physical change between that is actually in the stage one tune, or if it's just something that's just different between the two files. Because don't forget, this is 63% match. So not only am I'm going to have differences by what I've touched for tuning, I'm going to have differences that aren't part of the tune, but they're still differences. So they're the things you've got to be careful of. Like if I go through this tune, there's lots of differences. The pink and blue are differences. I'm pressing the N in space just to flick through to see what the changes are. I want to put all these changes into that file. Now, the best way to learn first is like this. So I've got my two files open. So that's the original for the van I want. As you can see there, I've got 4 transit original. And this is the tune that I want to transfer the changes into this one. And it's not the same, it's 63%, but we can still do it. So I've got my stage one tune. If I come up here and click connect windows, there shouldn't be any offset. It's going to look at whatever it is. So just leave this as default unless you have to change it. And what it's done now, it's connected those together, and it's showing me the changes between the file. Even if it's a change or not, it's still showing me the changes. Now I want to make this stage one tune down here into that original. So I'm going to go to, obviously they're not changes, but I can highlight them. I can literally come through and highlight everything in this file, whether it be a change, not a change, or whatever, makes no difference. So I'm going to let Winols take care of that at the end. So I'm going to highlight everything in this file. I'm just literally pressing N and highlighting the differences between the two files. I'll do the lot just to show you how quick it is. I am flicking through. It's nothing you have to really keep up with yet. Just literally just flicking through. Actually, I've got no questions now. Yeah, fault codes. Fault codes. Just different changes. A lot of these changes aren't physical changes. Because I forget we're 63% match, not a straight up 100%. 100% is a lot easier. Well, you don't have to touch it. If it's data area, it's even easier. But you can still use this process to move them over. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight everything that is a change, whether it be a change or not. Quite a few of these. Right, there's no more changes. So I've literally highlighted every single change that's in this file. Now what I want to do is tell Winols to move everything that's changed from the bottom to the top, but only move what do you press to highlight? I'm literally just dragging the mouse over it. I'm using the mouse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer everything from the bottom to the top, but I only want Winols to transfer the actual changes from the tune. So if I come over here and I press this button here, this is going to be copy. So if you want to copy from there to there, you click up. If you want to copy from there to there, you click down. So I'm going to copy it up. And now this little box here is transfer values. So all changes are relative to their own original. Yeah, that's all changes that are in the original of the stage one changes. And then down here, it says absolute or even unchanged. Now I'm only going to change the absolute. If you tick that unchanged, even unchanged, it's going to transfer everything from that file to that file, even if it's not changed in the bottom file. Because don't forget, this is the transfer values from the bottom to the top. So if I click that, it's going to move everything. If I just click the absolute, it's only going to move the tune. So you got transfer nothing, and you can transfer map structure this way too. If I press OK, right, now it's transferred everything over. Well, let's just check it. So this top one now was the original before, and now it's the tune. So all those other bits that were over here, it hasn't moved those. All it's done is look at the bottom one and see which actual physical changes and which are just there. Like here now, I've got driver's wish, like they're fine. It's only took over. If I match that back up now and link it, it's going to be very different. There's going to be lots of other changes there. That's not quite linked up. Naughty. So there's lots of other changes there that hasn't even bothered with. It's not even looking at that. It's just looking at what is actually changed in this bottom file into the top file. Even the fault codes, it's only picked up the fault codes that are actually changed, transferred those across. Again, the part of the fault code system, it's only took the fault codes that are changed and took those across. So even the busy areas, which fault codes and things like that, it's only looked at it and gone, well, only these are the changes. I'm only going to take those across. But this is quite a busy file. This looks like a SID 211, 210, 209 could be. For a transit van. So I can build the files even if I haven't got that exact file in, which is why your database is so important. It's so important to keep all the files you've got. See, it's only literally took, you can flick through the two just to check, but it's only literally took tune changes. So rather than sit there and build the file again, when I've already got a pretty good file below it, I just transfer the changes in, write it to the van. If the van doesn't quite like it, you just adjust it. Like that's when the tuning comes in the editing. But for a good start, it's in your database, so it should be a good file. If it's a crap file, if it causes issues, just delete it out your database. You don't need that in your database. All you want in your database is the stuff that works. Because then when you come to do another file that's like near enough the same, you can just transfer it in, no problem. And you've got a good start, you've got a good base to go from. That's where all of us tuners pretty much start from. No one starts from scratch. If they say they start from scratch, unless it's an old stuff, then you don't. So what if the offsets are different or different software version, for example, of 39%? It gets harder. Like obviously the more it's different, the harder it is, and then the more you have to kind of link and move around the files, which you can do using the buttons to link the file together. So it all depends on, obviously to start with, I probably wouldn't look at too much of a difference in the file to move stuff over, but you still can, especially if you know what the maps are. I do it from time to time if I'm working on, say, like a Med 9 ECU or something like that. and I haven't got that map pack, but I know, or Deimos, if I haven't got anything for that software, but I know I've got a software that's close, I can go to the same map, like Lamfer, whatever else, line them up and transfer the map in the same way I've just done like this. You don't have to sit and build everything from scratch. You can just click around in Winols, and it's the more you use Winols and the faster you get, the better it is. What if the offsets are different or different types of versions? Reason that's why I'm asking is Deimos map pack reasons. Yeah, it's the same with Deimos and map packs. As long as you can line that map up, you can transfer the map in. Like you can do the same with maps. Let me get something with maps. I share to transfer maps in. I didn't save that then for some reason. Always make sure you save it. Mind you, I've already got it. Didn't need it. Let's see if I've got some. No, that's a PSG. So if I've got like a 115J with a Deimos file in. No, we're not the stage one. If you've got like a, say a 115J and I do a search, find some of the projects on this. So I've got 20%. Look for a low one. 21. Might be able to do something like that. Let's have a look. Oh, that's only 21% because of all this crap here. The actual map is pretty much the same. Yeah, for a better one. I'll go for him just because I don't think it'll be that same. You know, it says change this button as well in the latest one. Threw me off. Oh, another quick one. See when you import a map and you don't see the maps down here. If you come up to find, search, restart background map search, it will restart that, and then you can see your maps again. Here we go. Yeah. No, still quite close. It looks like a tune below. All right, find a better one. No, still good. It's even 20%. It's just looking at, because when Winols looks at files, it looks at an over the whole file, and it's only 20%, even though the actual calibration is very close. So I knocked this out on purpose. If you're working like this and you want to transfer maps across, see these buttons that are flicking red? What that is basically Winols is saying that it's in a match between the two files. So if I click this button now, it'll match it all up. It's obviously a zero offset. So if I was working on this and I was trying to find Lamfer or something like that, let me find Lamfer. Probably gone past it. Might not have done. Where are you, Lamfer? Probably gone past. Yeah, I've gone past. There we go. Say if you've got Lamfer or something like that and you're slightly out. So if I knock this out like that, and you wanted to match these up, but you know where there was, it's quite easy to put the two over the top just by using the arrows. So you can link them up. You can either press these arrows if it is a match, or you can move it around. Yeah, it's as simple as clicking on the map, right-clicking, transfer map. I always go transfer nothing because I don't want to put anything in there, and then you can click the map, and then boom, you've got the map in there too. So it's not just the map changes you can use in Winols. You can pretty much do anything with the transfer function as long as you've got one over the other. The only issue, well, the biggest issue at the minute is people selling map packs. and they're locking them out. So when they lock them out, it locks you from doing that. It locks you from transferring the map from one map to another, which kind of gets a bit annoying. It's all right, but I don't know. I prefer to work from Demos files just because I know that map is what that map is, and it's not just what someone else thinks it is. Always be mindful of that when buying map packs and things off people. Same with ECM and everything else. That's how they're pretty much derived. Any more questions on that, Liam? That's cleared it up. No problem, mate. Sorry, I couldn't find one that was that close or that far away. But that's pretty much how I do it. As long as I've got a map pack, I'll jump in and then line it up and go PCR 2.1. I don't have many diesels. I try and stay away from doing a lot of diesel stuff. I'm more a petrol guy. PCR 2.1. Have I got any? I've got a couple. Let's see if I can find. It's like the everyday one that everyone has. Some of the projects. AMG, 15%. That's definitely not the same as an AMG. No, I've got to look even closer to show you on PCR. Yeah, that's the problem. There's a lot of software versions, and there's not many map packs out there for PCR 2.1. I found. But that's sometimes it's PC and that do pack. Say if I've got this, what can I put? What will work in there? Golf. Say if you've got a VW Golf and you're linked to the BC kind of software and everything else, so that they've got their own database and you can link yourself to it. They've also got a special button up here called Solutions. Now with that Solutions tab, BC have done this quite cool thing, really. Quite expensive, but it's quite cool, where it'll look at your file and it'll tell you if they have a map pack for it, and if they do, you can purchase it and load it straight into your project. But the only problem is you can't move things around. So of course it's asking for VIN number and stuff. So I'm not buying it. So 17 characters. Is that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12? Funny someone actually had that VIN number, and then you can actually put in. So I've got map switch, launch control, no lift shift, 10 credits. I think 10 credits to them is, what was it now? It's about 150 euro, something like that with that. So for like 130 quid, whatever it's going to be, you can add the map switching, LDRXN limitation, looking at launch control and lift shift, and I think it also gives you a map pack for it as well. Don't quote me, might not, but I'm sure it does. So that you can go in and adjust it as well. So obviously it's going to build that outside of the map structure. So nice little add-on with Winols that BC have done. BC are quite good. They own B-Flash, but they don't own B-Flash now. They're owned by a bigger company, but they're always working on making things like Winols and that better for all of us. So it's always good to, they do a lot of EDC 17 stuff. They've got a lot of map packs for those. I've bought a few of those. Simos 18, Med 17. They don't do much Mercs and stuff like that, which I wish I would, because they're big to find. B&W stuff they do quite a lot with. So they do quite a lot of, files and map packs and things like that, which we can load in. Not too much, not too expensive. The only problem with that is if you're doing file supply, you can get pain in the ass, because if you're using a tool like B-Flash or C&D or whatever, and that's all you use, and that's great. But if you read the same project with a different tool like Auto Tuner, then your map pack, well, the map won't be the same as the one you've bought the map pack for, and you can't transfer that map pack into the file either, so that you can get a bit expensive. So just bear that in mind, especially if you're doing file supply and things like that. But you can build your tune. That's a good way of doing it. Say if you've bought a map pack from someone and you can't transfer the changes, there's nothing stopping you from having a project open underneath that you've got a map pack for, even if it's quite close. And I've done this in the past. Say if I changed something, say if I wanted to put Lamfer in the file below and I only had the map pack for the file above, or whatever. So if I link these together, see how close they are. I can't remember. Yeah, so they're quite close. So say if I wanted to, I only had a map pack for the one above and I didn't have the one below, it's a different tool that read it, but they still line up. There's nothing stopping you from going into here, making your changes in the top. So I want to run 0.83. Nothing stopping you from doing that to put your changes in. So you could build your file in the top one and transfer your changes into your bottom one, which is going to be your tune. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. The only thing they stop you from doing is literally building the map pack or transferring the map pack from file to file. I do that quite a lot because I'm trying to keep buying map pack after map pack after map pack when I've already got the map pack. So I just link them together. I build the tune in the top one and transfer it into the bottom one. Done. And you know where you are. You don't have to sit there and build the map pack into this one for just that one car or whatever. You can quickly make your changes and transfer it in, and off you go. And then if you unlink, you can see your changes below, and off you go. I like doing that. It's quite a quick way of doing things. Get rid of that. Think about whatever else. I suppose all your eyes are looking at what files I've got. Quite a few things. Is there anything else anyone wants to know about the database or transferring maps? It's quite a quick subject, but quite a really handy one. Is there anything else you want me to go into or start looking into? So give me an idea of what to do next, and you can start doing it in here. I'm here. If anyone wants to know anything about anything else, just pop it in the questions box. The clients, they're yours. It's basically your database, your own database. So every car you've ever read, or every car you want to run, which a few times at the beginning again, sort of thing, yeah. Oh, what have I just done? I've just done something. Don't know what I've just done. Yes, Carl, it's being recorded, so you can watch it over and over again. I think I've tried recording it this time, but yeah. Where to put information about stage 1 DPFR? Oh, good question. Yeah, so when you're building your database, so I've got that file. Yeah, so here's my original file. Just gone to my car. I've read it. So this is the other side of it as well, especially if you're doing a lot of being supplied files and you want to build your own database for using yourself. So if I just go into the car, I've read the car. There's my transit file. I've looked in Winols. I haven't got a file for it. I'm going to flick to the stage 1 tune just to show you what I do next. Let me just open that up. Control E. Let me show you what I do. I'll show you from scratch. So I've read the car. I've opened the file. I've loaded it into Winols. I'll ignore all of that for now. I'll delete it after. I've opened up the file. This bit's all you. The maps are looking at 2D, but yeah, I'll get into that. That's more car related. So then I've got the Ford Transit file, etc. I've loaded it in. I haven't got another file, so you can either go buy one or whatever, or you sent it to your file supplier. So then your file suppliers come back. Here's your stage 1 tune. You flash it to the car. Everything's okay. So now you want to put that file into your database. It's as simple as getting the file. So you've had a stage 1 tune back, ready to the car, it's all fine, etc. Just drag it on top, flash it straight on top of your file, on top of your original. Press OK, call it what you like. You want to create a new version. Obviously, you don't want to copy over the original. You can put what you made on the file or whatever else, maximum torque and everything else that goes with it. Put in what you like in here, and then press finish. And then that shows you all the changes of that tune between the two, so you don't have to keep looking between the two, but it also saves it into your project database. So in your database now, if I open versions, I've got my original, and then I've got my stage 1 tune, and every other project you put in after that will save as another one and another one and another one. And in here you can make folders, so you can have subfolders, say stage 1. So you can have a folder in there as well, so you can put that in there in your folder, drop that in there, drop that up there. Drop that up there. Don't want to drop up there, but you can have everything in folders. Like I've done it with different cars where I have different turbos and things like that. So I put I've named the folders as the turbos or the customer, and you can put their versions inside there. I find that easier than making every project for a customer. I just literally build the folder as a customer within the actual version. I find it a lot easier to get through. 1,000 files, stage 1 in Ori. You've got I'd put them all in here as much as you can. You can actually. They have. It's a bit sketchy, but you can load all your files in one go if they're labeled in a certain way. So if you go into the import section, I think it's on here. Import directory. So you can import a whole directory. So you tell the folder where to go to import that directory. You include subfolders if you've got your folders in different files. But the only problem with this is you have to name all the files in a certain way that Winols knows what they are. So if you've got original stage 1, then you want to be typing them all as original stage 1, and then telling this to only pick up original stage 1 and put them in the same folder. So it does do it. But I've tried it once and I got in a mess, and I had to sit and delete every single one of them manually. Well, I kind of just deleted the whole folder and started again, because I just did it into its own folder, just keep it separate. But it can get quite messy. Folder. Might copy the MPC files and check some. Now look at that. So you can import them all in one go. Just bear in mind that it can get quite messy. I would try and just start it yourself. I know people. I think Blair's on here. Blair paid someone to do it for him, and did quite a good job. I don't know if Blair can let you know who he used or whatever else, but they just load him in for you. Well, it's just a data input kind of job. You can get someone in off an agency, something to load him in, because you're going to make the money back off it anyway. Because the amount of money you're going to save by knowing if you have an original or not is, I couldn't tell you. It's as many as the cars you can get in. So that's pretty much what it all comes down to once you know you've got a good backup of files, because that's how all these file providers pretty much start. It's they've flashed so many cars, they put them all into Winols, they're putting files in now and they're getting 100% to whatever else, and then they can start feeding to other people. Because you basically built yourself, a stock cupboard. You've got a load of car files on the shelf ready to go to other people or whatever else. What we got over here? Do you use scripts much? I have done quite a lot, to be fair, Jack. The script side, I'll probably have to do a session in itself on, because it depends on your computer scripting knowledge. But I'm quite clued up on making scripts and things like that, so I can go into it and I can show you how to do them. But there is a way of doing it, and you kind of have to know how to do. Like, I've done it for stuff like quick stuff, like if I went through a stint of doing a load of PD 130s and things like that, so I did a script so I could just add the hard cut in without having to go open the file or delete an EGR, take fault codes out for the EGR, things like that. Or you can even make scripts to make maps for you. So if you've got a file that you do quite a lot and you just want a quick bang a stage 1 map, like map packing, you could literally script that, so Winols will just load and build it for you. So it's quite handy, and that's pretty much how the BC thing works with the LUA. You can actually purchase that as well through EBC as an LUA scripting platform, where it's a bit more advanced, and you can literally program it to make files for you and things like that. All depends on your programming knowledge and scripting knowledge, really. Checksum, is it done automatically, writing copied MPC file, and does it need checksum? I would try and stay away from doing checksums depending on what tools you're going to use, because the majority of the tools these days, they take care of the checksums for you. So, and Winols checksums along with tool checksums can get you in a bit of a pickle, and you can start bricking ECUs just because your tool hasn't picked up the checksum, or Winols isn't picking up the checksum that your tool's made. Like CMD, when it puts a little CMD tag at the start, doesn't always pick it up. So be careful with that. Did you see that question? Maybe it's trying to find the option. Find where CDC should have an issue. Don't get that one, Carl. We'll have to look into that one a bit deeper. Is there a way of getting rid of signature no reads? That's a pain if you have another good way of. They keep changing it for the signature stuff. I mean, I found a way of doing it the other week where, well, I think they must have changed it recently. So you could load in a file that had a signature, and as long as you knew what file it was, you could import it as a new version over the top of an original. But they've since changed that, and as I've noticed recently, you can't do it. So what I tend to do, if you're doing signatures and things like that, then if you want to get into it, I'd use other software, because things like even SwiftX doesn't care about signatures in the no-read signatures. So as long as you've got an original and a tune, you can put them together and away you go. So that's I can go into that for you. I can show you things like how to get signatures out and things like that. It's quite intensive. Sometimes depends how many maps they've used, how they use it. Because I get quite clever with it. I will put the signature on a map that I know that you're going to need to get the power out of the car, to like load map or something like that. So if you put your signature into that, and then they remove the signature, because the only way to remove it is to clear the map, then the map's dead. Basically, you lose the power. So I always think about where you're going to put it, but obviously when it comes to you guys and getting into it, it can be a bit of a pain. So if I've killed the map, then there's that too. What about the heading, the leading FFF at the front of the CMD region? You can FFF that. Winols actually gives you the option when you load in a CMD file. So if you load in CMD, it'll tell you that there's a CMD tag at the start, and if you want to clear it, which is good. But again, if you're using CMD is going to take care of that anyway. Yeah, checksum. Should we keep it? Keep it. Always keep it. If you're reading or writing with CMD, keep it. Just for the simple fact that CMD is going to put that into its checksum. So just keep that. Always keep that part the same. If you cross tools, just change the file across. Don't use the same file. So that's that one. Oh, thanks, Blair. That's who Blair used to put in all these files. He had a lot of files when he come over to me. I think we did what did we do with you, Blair? We did that little fast little car, didn't we? That what was it called? Fiat. TDO 5 turbo? A bar. That's it. Not something for existing bar inclination. Quick little car, that is. If everyone looks into the bars, go see Blair. It's a little fast little car, that. I think I've got one next week, same kind of spec. Should we keep it or not? Any more questions in the questions box? Oh, virtual EEPROM in B flash reads. Winols again, because B flash are good, but it's a bit of a pain in the fact they don't keep files. The way they read the file, it's like a container, so they can have the EEPROM, the virtual, the external, all in one file. And you kind of have to keep it in that file for B flash. That's why when you look at exporting a B flash file, I'm not sure if it'll say it on this one. Cancel. You've got, oh no, it's not on here. When you load in a B flash file, it will export as a B flash file because B flash works in containers. So it works a little bit different to most tools. So say if I'm on a bench and I'm killing an immobilizer or something on a TFSI, you would literally use the whole file and then you have to transfer that in. So you have to select your container twice. So when you're flashing the car, so it's a bit more in depth. But Winols is also, because they work closely with B flash, they have an extra option at the end. I think is it on here? Delete now. When you load in a file which has got the EEPROM and the file in the same thing, I think AutoTune have started doing it as well with when they do virtual reads on Med9 stuff. You have to export it back out as one. So if you're loading in a 2.5 megabyte file, you're only looking at the 2 megabyte when you're doing the tune, but when you export it, you want to export it as a 2.5 as well, and you always have to export it as a container. It's getting a bit more technical with those, but it will become the norm, and Winols takes care of it anyway. There is an option. In fact, I'm not sure if I can see. Have we got any files? Should have. BDC. I haven't. No, I haven't saved any. Oh well, thought I did. No. Thought I saved the TFSI file that I did. Obviously not. Oh well. That's gone. Did have a file for it, I could have showed you. In fact, RS3. No, it's gone. Anything else? I think we've got more. This file exhibits a high degree of randomness. Oh, yeah. Used to be that if it said that, then the file was probably encrypted, so it's a slave file. So if you load in a slave file, it will come up saying that it's a lot of randomness. What it means by that is there's no kind of calibration here, it's just a bunch of lines. But ever since they have started doing more virtual reads with cards like CMOS 18 and things like that, within the file, you've got the calibration area. On either side, you've got this application area, but they're not showing you the application area. They're encrypting it. With encrypting it, they're putting a bunch of lines in, if you like. So when you load this into Winols now, it will also pick up that file as saying there's a high degree of randomness, even though the file's okay. But it does generally mean that there's a lot of randomness in the file. It's noting a lot of numbers that don't make sense, and it's kind of telling you that the file might not be good to use. But it's just a case of loading it in and having a look. Is it possible for a tuner to lock his files? If so, lock file changes will also be copied. How to overcome this? No, not really. There's nothing out there that will stop anyone from reading an ECU. Really, I think Magic and that have started looking into it, but it's not really worth the ball ache of messing around with it. To lock your files from people loading into Winols and copying the changes over, nope, there's nothing for that either. I mean, I think you can lock a project maybe. So let's have a look at the project. Let's open a project and export that. Export file as a project version. I encrypt file. So if you're going to encrypt file when you export a project version, then you can. So you can transfer MAC contents, no. Transfer MAC structure, no. Access hex dump, yes. Access hex it makes MAC. So you can do it as a project, but you can't. If you're supplying files to people, you can't do it as a file. So you're pretty much stuck there. You can sign it, you can put no read in it, you can put what you like in it, people can get in. They're not hard to get into. So it's just a case of really just work with people who you can trust, I suppose, or just know that people, I don't mind sending open files. I'm not bothered. Like if you've paid for the service for me to make that tune, so that's my job done. Whatever you do with that tune after, that's whatever. Because the way I look at it is if you bought a file off me and you've got it on a car and the car's fine, that's me done. If you then go put that same file onto another car and you have a problem, you kind of don't have my support as such because you've only bought it for the first car. Because with files and things like that, it's not just about the buying a file, it's about the support for that tune. Like the person who wrote the file should be able to adjust the file around the van if it needs, car, van, car, bike, whatever it's going to be. They should understand how to tune that car because they've supplied that as a service to you, which is kind of like the file supply kind of pit at the minute, is because there's a lot of people out there who will supply you files but don't understand what they're supplying you because they might use a third party or whatever else. So it could be long for them to come back to you because they've got to go to another guy, and even that guy might not know what he's doing. So that could be another one. So it's the whole tuning scene is like that. You don't know kind of what you're getting. So it's not just about the tune, it's about the support for that tune. So don't be afraid to send people open files. Just only support the one that you send. If after that they get stuck or brick a car because it's not quite working with another car, then they have to pay for that service again for you to help them to adjust that tune to get it going. You're going to get the odd guy that's going to come back to you and say, "Oh, it's the same car" or whatever else. But apart from that, just get clever and work with people you can trust. There's plenty of people out there you can trust. I could probably name about 30 on that list. So it's good. Questions? I think that's about it. Cool. I think I could probably end it there. So that, guys, is open. It's opened your eyes a little bit to kind of like build your databases up. Stop putting your files into like random files and things like that. start banging them into Winols, start making it like a stockpile for yourself, start understanding what the files are and things like that. And then obviously work with me, and I'll help you to be able to tune the cars as well. Because I work with all sorts of cars, mainly big turbo stuff. I mean, today I've done about 2,500 horse today, because the cars I mainly do, it's not just Winols either. I've done Cybex today. I can do Motec, I can do Link, I can tune a lot of things. So, because that's the way I look at, I look different to most people. Those type of file work on Winols. Any kind of binary file will work with Winols. So you've got anything really that you can read off a car, you can load into Winols. KP is not a file. A KP is a map pack which has been exported from Winols, because that's what Winols calls it. Or an OLS file is a project that someone has exported from Winols. So I hope that clears that bit up, because that's what those two are. It's basically Winols, like what their naming structure. So you've got a file which you can name and whatever you like, bin, whatever, it doesn't really matter. You can call a file a brick if you like, and it'll still write to the ECU. .brick, and it'll still write because it's a binary file. Binary is computer code. It has no file version. You can call it what you like. KP is an exported map pack. So someone's built in Winols and exported, and it exports as a KP by default. And an OLS file is a project. Now you can export projects in different ways. You can export just the file that you're on, or you can export the whole entire one. So what is the difference of a KP and a DMOS file? That's pretty much what I just said, depending on how or what's exported from Winols. So the majority of KP files you find are just map packs. So it's someone's done. I do it all the time. I'll work from a DMOS, which is your A2L level of your manufacturer, which is the highest level you can get, as the way this works. And then I'll load that into the file, I'll tune it, and then when I'm done, I'll export just the maps I've touched into a KP file. So the next car that I get come in but might have slightly different software, I can just change the offsets a little bit and send in that map pack into that file and work off that file, knowing that the maps I've got open are the ones I need to look at, rather than all of them, because it gets quite confusing. And then if I do stage 2, process starts again, DMOS, stage 2, and then export. How do you export the map pack with only the changes? That's quite easy. You just look at the options when you're exporting stuff. If I open up a DMOS file, with loads of maps in, I'll do. Oh, hang on, I should have opened that one below. Either will do. Once it opens, might take a couple of seconds. So if I open this one, so I've got a RS3 TTE stock MPI, or one with TT700. So I open this file. If I wanted to export just the changes, which I've got here, I'd go export map pack, which then becomes, and then all I can say is all maps, so I'll export all the maps I've got, all selected maps, or all maps that contain changes. So if you just click that box, it will only export the maps with physical changes inside the map. So that becomes, that to me then is I don't know what we're at, stage 3 KP file. So that's how I would do it. Other people just call it stage 3 to get money for it. So that's the way of looking at it, like that. Again, you've got single values, 1 dimension, 2 dimension, etc., etc. But it gives you options. If you just read the options as you go through when you're doing stuff, you'll get, oh yeah, what's that? You'll pick it up more. So I don't want to do that. Any more questions? Is it? You all done? Is that all right, Liam? It will be recorded, Stuart. I'm not sure how. I might have to send a link. I'll know after. Spot on, thank you. No problem here. So I'm not sure that, Stuart. I'm guessing that you might just be able to follow this link on again, I guess. So not sure, but I'll probably cut it off there. I think we're done. I think you kind of guys have got some work to do to go and start building your databases up like Blair's done. I'm guessing Blair, it's a lot easier for Blair now that he can do that. And he's building up his tunes and everything else. So thanks. Finger message. So that's that then. So the next one, we're going to start looking into tuning. I think we've done with Winols now. Anything else to do with that? So I think we need to get on the dyno and start making some proper videos and sending some cars to the moon. So, see you there, boys. I've got some banter to do on Facebook now. I'm going to go book someone. So, see you later.